this video, we will show you how to properly install Quarrix Ridge Vent Rigid Roll R Series and Ridge Vent S Series vent system. Quarrix Ridge Vent ventilation systems are available in 3 different widths: 7-inch, 9-inch, and 11¼ inch. The type of roofing materials used will determine the width of the vent to use. Quarrix Ridge Vent Rigid Roll R Series comes in 20-foot roll lengths, and the Quarrix Ridge Vent S Series is available in 4-foot and 8-foot sections. The installer's preference will determine the length of the product to use. Quarrix Ridge Vents also come in low profile, which is 5/8 inches high, and high profile, which is 1 inch high. The most common type of vent product used is the 11¼ inch and 20-foot low 5/8 inch profile Quarrix Rigid Roll R Series vent. High profile is typically used for homes with short ridge lines or for those homes who want a raised ridgeline appearance. It's important to know the nailing area on 11¼ inch, 9-inch, and 7-inch Quarrix Ridge vents before installing. Quarrix Ridge vents are made of high-density polyethylene, which means they can be installed in weather as cold as -40 degrees below zero, or in extreme heat. Before starting, determine the amount of Quarrix Ridge Vent R Series or Ridge Vent S Series vent needed. First, find the attic floor square footage by multiplying attic length times width. Once you have gotten the total square footage, refer to the chart in the product label to determine the amount needed at the ridge. This is the length of the slot that needs to be cut. Mark your required ridge ventilation on the ridge with a chalk line. This will be the slot you will cut to cover with Quarrix Ridge Vent Rigid Roll R Series or Ridge Vent S Series. For Quarrix low profile vents, a 2-inch slot, 1 inch on each side of the ridge should be cut. For a roof with a center beam, a 3½ inch slot should be cut, 1 3/4 inch on each side. For a Quarrix high profile vent, cut a 2½ inch slot, 1 1/4 inch on each side of the ridge. For high profile vent with a center beam, cut a 4-inch slot, 2 inches on each side of the ridge. A minimum of 6 inches must be left uncut on each end of the ridge. For the most attractive roof line, it's recommended that the vent is installed along the entire ridge of the roof. In a re-roof, the slot should be cut before shingle installation as long as the ridge vent will be installed on the same day. In a retrofit, the slot can be cut from a pre-shingled roof using a circular saw with a carbide tip blade. A bead of sealant caulk must be laid down on each side of the slot before vent installation. The sealant caulk should fill any voids between the bottom of the vent and the surface of the shingle for a weather-tight seal. Now the ridge is ready for Quarrix Ridge Vent installation. Locate the foam end caps that come with the product. In the Ridge Vent Rigid Roll R Series, they are located 3 feet into the roll. In the Ridge Vent S Series, they are stacked between the 4-foot sections. There are 4 end caps in each end cap block. Pull apart 1 end cap from the block. Using a utility knife, make a cut into the storm stop membrane, 1/2 inch on each side, back from the end of the section. Using sealant caulk, coat the plastic part under the storm stop membrane that has been slit. Using sealant caulk, coat storm stop membrane on the top side. Insert foam end cap with cut back storm stop membrane between foam end cap and the underside of the vent to ensure a weather-tight seal. Install end caps at the beginning and at the end of each Quarrix Ridge Vent Rigid Roll R Series and Ridge Vent S Series vent section. If the roll or section is cut in any place, a foam end cap should be installed for a weather-tight seal. Attach vent to the roof deck by driving a nail into each of the 2 corners on the end of the vent. Also, drive 2 nails through the vent and foam end cap to hold the foam in place on the ends of the ridge only. Nails should penetrate the roof deck at least 3/4 inch. Once vent has been secured at the lead edge, begin bending the remaining part of the vent into a V shape. Pull the vent tight from the unsecured end and secure it at 10 feet with 2 nails. Pull the vent tight and insert an end cap before securing the end of the roll or section. Multiple lengths of vent can be joined together by butting the properly end-capped sections tightly together. Place a bead of sealant on the seam of the 2 joined ridge vents. Cap shingle installation. Using the Quarrix one-pass installation method, secure cap shingles and vent at the same time. Nail ridge caps with roofing nails in a common overlapping pattern. It is very important that the nails penetrate the roof deck at least 3/4 of an inch. It is important when installing Quarrix vents that you maintain the pitch of the roof. The vent has been properly installed if the bottom of the vent is flat on the roof and the peak is slightly rounded. As you can see with Quarrix ridge vents, the line will have a smooth, even appearance. For Class A installations only, after the vent has been installed, but before the cap shingle installation, use a hook blade and remove the corrugated plastic center of the vent. Do this for the hip and ridge. This modified installation meets the requirements for UL 790 Class A standard.